is still being dragged through the mud because I intentionally kept on trying to transition, and I lost more and more as the years went on. But I eventually came to the realization that transitioning fully will come at such a high cost to me that I'm not sure if that's something I want to do. I will be exposing myself not just to anti-transgender violence, but a lot of heavy societal pressures, which may push me to the brink. Transitioning isn't always the story of a baby trans caterpillar blossoming into a happy, healthy trans butterfly. Sometimes transitioning is difficult, but it's necessary for so many of us. I have spent many moments attempting to convince myself I won't ever transition, but I've been reflecting on how, honestly, it's unsustainable. I'm between a rock and a hard place at the end of the day. And as I'm not living the full experience yet, and because I do not have the experience of a visible black trans woman as a Latina trans woman who is still presenting as male red with relative privilege due to my middle class background, I've decided that I will not participate in the full panel discussion today, although I was initially supposed to. And I have opted to just discuss my situation up front. As a group, we've decided that it's vital for you to understand the extremes that many of us have to resort to in order to continue to survive. And as well as demonstrate how there are many more covert trans people in your life or who have even possibly been lost to us over the years. If you have any questions after the event, please feel free to reach out to me. But for the time being, please give your undivided attention to Amarra, Evelisa, and Lexi. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that and for participating in the process for this event and being here and sharing your truth. We really do appreciate it greatly. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with you, Amarra, and I'm going to have you share a little bit about who you are, 2 to 3 minutes, and about why you accepted my invitation to be on this panel.
Hi, everybody. My name's Amarra. I'm 19 years old. I'm a Black trans woman right here from Omaha, Nebraska. I started my transition when I was probably around 15, 16. And it wasn't easy at first. I didn't have the support of my family, and it was just a really rocky situation, but we're here today, and that's all that matters. So I decided that I was going to school for a few different things. I changed my major a few times, and I realized that wasn't really for me. So I decided to follow my dreams and move to New York and pursue modeling. So that's what I'm doing. 67 days is my countdown. So I accepted this invitation from Eli. At the end of the day, we're being gunned down in the streets. We're being stabbed. We're being raped. Like, it's an epidemic. And so many of our sisters have been lost this year and years prior, and their names are not even being said. And it's heartbreaking, because if you look at us up here, that could be us. That could be, I mean, it's very, very difficult. But I just wanted to be a part of this event and really help spread that awareness and really help teach people who don't share my experience or Avelisa's experience or Lexi's experience, and just so you guys have some insight and know how to support Black trans women going forward. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Avelisa. I am a 32-year-old trans woman, so I'm a little bit further through things. I had a very religious childhood, and so anything that could even be seen as a little bit too girly was put down. I was told that I was going to go to hell. I was told that I would never accomplish my dreams. I was told that I would never be happy, and so these are things that I pushed down within myself, even though I knew that it was something that I needed to do in order for me to be happy. So I did a little bit of college, didn't like it because I wasn't able to be myself, and decided, hey, why not the military? That seems like a good idea. It was not. But it led me to understand who I was, because I was being put down and I was being beaten on a constant basis about being too feminine, being too girly, sounding too girly. Even though I was able to do my job and I was able to do it well, I was constantly hearing this. And it made me realize, why am I pretending to be somebody that I'm not? And so after receiving a retirement from the military, I decided to transition. And it has just changed who I am as a person. And I sit in front of you confident, I sit in front of you successful in my own right. I am happier than I could have even imagined. And all of that doesn't keep me out of a casket. There are women who look just like me, who have very similar experiences to me, that are being murdered. I know when we talk about the number of people, it sounds like it's not that bad. It doesn't sound like that many people. But you have to realize that if they're not falling and dying, they're not passing away in their sleep. These women are being murdered. The majority of them are being shot. One was shot, put in a car, and then burned. So this isn't something that we should be taking lightly. It's easy when you scroll past it on Facebook, but I agree to do this because it's not as easy when you're sitting in front of us and you have to see our faces and the fear in our eyes that our faces may be the next ones on a Facebook story that you scroll by.
Okay, I'm a little jokey, but I am 23. My transition started when I was living on my own. I was 18, or I was 17 on my first place. My mom, she's always been very supportive of me, but we bump heads. And she told me that if I wanted to be grown, I had to get out of her house. So got out of her house and I did whatever I wanted to do. And you know, like with M, it cost me a lot. Like I lost my place, I've lost good jobs, but I continued. Like that was the cost that I was willing to pay. Like death for me was never an option. I'm a survivor and I will continue to be a survivor. I will live past 35. I will have a good job. I have a good job. I have healthy relationships. These are things that I choose to have, and it's not something that I take for granted. I love everybody, I do, and I hope that you guys love us enough to learn how to coexist, because what I eat don't make you. What you eat don't make me shit. So why can't we coexist? You know, I want to be able to coexist with everybody. And that's all I have to say.
If you haven't already fallen in love with these three, I mean, seriously, I feel blessed to know them. And so, you know, the statistics are this. The average life expectancy of a Black trans woman is 35. I'm just going to let that kind of ruminate a little bit. You know, the statistics this year, of the 23 people murdered, 19 were Black trans women. And these women are having to put themselves in riskier situations because of a society that won't see them for who they are. So we talked about questions, and we're like, okay, we're gonna get these questions together. We're gonna really drive our punch. So I'm gonna keep things going, and I'm gonna start with the first question. What is it like being a visible transgender woman in America today? And we're gonna start with Avalisa, and then we'll get the other two to answer. Short answer.
So being visible is amazing to an extent. I am in a place where people know me. I went out to throw axes and somebody was like, oh my God, are you Lisa? And I was like, yes, very, very odd. However, being visibly trans has cost me quite a bit in my life. If you Google Avalisa Gallo, you will find videos and articles and all types of things about me being trans. And I never put the two together when I was looking for jobs and I was trying to find employment. I never thought to myself, oh, these people could possibly just Google me. I have an amazing resume. I have all of these amazing things that I have done that should qualify me for jobs, but in most situations, I will be actively looking for a job for 6 months and not find anything. Also, being visible makes my life very terrifying because I know that if someone feels threatened by their own mind, if they feel like they need to act out towards a trans woman, I know that I'm visible. I know that people know who I am. I know that people know where I am a lot of times. And I don't talk about it because it's such a downer, but it's fucking terrifying. I have so much that I want to do with my life, and I'm so afraid all the time that I won't be able to do it because I am visible. But the thing is that there's so many girls in this world who don't have the luxury to be visible. They can't do that. And so I have to do it for them because I know by you all seeing me, it helps other girls who look like me. And so that's what it's like to be visible in America right now.
Oh, you so deep, girl. Well, one thing I like about being visible, one thing I hate about being visible is that certain people may see me, and those people that see me love y'all, but y'all gotta see y'all brothers that wants to be your sister. Y'all have to see your son that wants to be your daughter, your daughter that wants to be your son. And like I was talking to somebody the other night, and like we were, like he respected me, like he used my pronouns and everything, and he was like, do you know so-and-so? And I was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, well, he's supposed to be sending me some money. I was like, you mean she? And he was like, well, I told him that he's gonna always be my brother no matter what. And I'm sitting there like, but you can respect me, but you can't respect her. Like I need people to be able to see me and see the person that's right next to me for what they are as well. So my visibility for me is valid because I may pass, but what about the person that doesn't pass? I want everybody to be able to feel validated for what they are. What was the question?
What is it? I mean, you're beautifully answering it. What is it like being a visible Black transgender woman in America today?
That's what it's like. And another thing, when I first started my transition, my doctor, she was like, congratulations, you have extended your life expectancy. And I was like, huh, what? Technically, women live longer than men. And I want to see 79 one of these days. I'm gonna see 70. And I'll see out there.
I want you to see 72, so I can call you Granny. Okay, so for those of you who didn't know that, I want to tell you something because language is important, right? So Lexi just said tranny granny, right? And we all laugh, but I want you to understand something. Like, that's okay for her to say that because she's a trans woman.
Like the N-word.
Right? I'm a trans man and I don't even like saying that word, but yes, like the N-word and like the whole conversation. We can have a whole nother conversation around that one, right? But I think it's really important to understand those subtle nuances. And there are people who will get mad when you tell them that, and they'll be like, but that isn't right. How come you get to say it and I don't get to say it and I should get to say it? I'm just like, you don't understand because there are people dying, and you don't have that right until you educate yourself. And once you educate yourself, then you begin to realize, actually I don't want to use that word. Even I, as a trans man, have to learn these things myself. So, all right, so now Amarra, you're going to answer that same question. What's it like being a visible Black transgender woman in America today?
So, to be visible in America as a Black trans woman today, it's a lot of things. It has its ups and downs. You want to be visible and you want to be authentically yourself, but you do have that fear that you will lose your life. And that's what it comes down to. Or, I mean, every day I wonder, someone might recognize me, tell their friend. I don't know how many times I've been at work and someone I know comes in and recognizes me, whispers to their friend who may not know me and be like, blah, 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 that's so-and-so, that's this, that's that. And those, when you do things like that, that puts my life in danger. And it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, I could lose my life, and it's terrifying, to say the least. And I'm only 19. I want to live my life.
Yeah.
I want to live my life. I want to do the things that everybody else does. I want to achieve my goals, because I have goals too, believe it or not. And it's just being visible. I'm doing a service to my sisters, but it almost feels like a disservice to myself at times because of people around me. So that's really all I have to say on that.
Well, that's a powerful word right there. Don't dismiss that. That is a powerful word, because it's true. So here's another little tip. Okay, pro tip. Ready? Pro tip. You know someone who's trans, you don't have to introduce them as, oh, hey, I know that they used to be this. All you have to do is say, I know my friend Amarra, who's amazing, going to New York City to model.
Hey.
Right? That's the word, right? So you don't have to out us as trans either. Even though we stand up here and we put our faces open and out about it, you don't have to out me to anyone, because it does make it dangerous for them. So you can protect them by saying, you know what, I met this person today who's extraordinary, and maybe you want to look her up. I don't know. You can share the video, that's fine, because we've all agreed to be on it. But just think about those things. So, next question. What is dysphoria to you? We'll let you start.
So, dysphoria, that's a difficult question, just because it's different for everybody, and to be trans, you don't necessarily need dysphoria. But personally, my dysphoria roots from a lot of different insecurities, and it's difficult. It makes me anxious. It gives me anxiety. It makes it hard to do my day-to-day things, live my life, get out of bed in the morning, look at myself in the mirror even. And it's kind of heightened when, just some days it's just worse than others. And when you have to go out and still get things done, and you have to still be face-to-face with people, talking to people, meeting with people, it's difficult for us. Okay, I'll just say it. It's difficult. Imagine your biggest insecurities projected every day, like times 100. That's what it feels like for me. It's like a void, and I can't crawl out of it. I know I'm beautiful, and that's on period, but some days I just can't, it's something with me, I just can't recognize that, and I just nitpick, and my insecurities just get to me, and it's very difficult. I don't know what more I can say, but it's just, recognize,
Dysphoria, I don't really have, they say, they have that on my chart, but I don't know what that means. But for me, my dysphoria came from, I don't know, watching myself get a little smaller, get a little tits, get a little butt, So when now that I've seen, I don't know, I find myself attracted to weird things now, ooh, he got muscles, or he has big hands, things like that attract me now, and I think that happened because of dysphoria. So that's
So to help explain dysphoria, you first have to understand that within the trans umbrella, there is the binary and there is non-binary. I think so many people get us mixed up and so many people kind of throw us together because we're all trans, so we're all suffering with the same things. We all have the same issues. No, that's not how it works. There are those of us who fall under the binary, which means male and female, and then there are those that fall outside of the binary, and those are the ones that say there is no such thing as gender and they don't want to be one thing or the other, or they want to be both. There's so many things that fall under there, but for women like us, we fall under the binary. So our entire journey, our entire transition is to move from one to the other. And so in that journey from one to the other, we find things about ourselves that we don't like, that make us still feel like the old. Because when we're growing up, everybody says, oh, you're so girly, you talk girly, you have girly eyelashes, you look just like a girl. And then the second we transition, oh, you look like a man, you sound like a man. And so there's those things that we're constantly hearing, even if people aren't saying them. So that's what dysphoria is. I wake up out of the bed, I put my hand on my face and I feel a little stubble. And then there's this little bitch in the back of my mind who says, you are a man. You're a man. Everybody knows it. Everybody's going to see it. And I have to work hard to shut that bitch up all the time because she is constantly talking. But some days she's just a little bit too loud. And it's hard for me to be seen by people. It's hard for me to be out in public. It's hard for me to do really small things because I just feel overwhelmed and I feel so small about myself because of this tiny person that I have placed inside of my brain, and her name is dysphoria. So that's what dysphoria feels like.
Ooh. Sometimes she's a fish on wheels. All right, we're gonna keep going because I'm loving these answers. I don't know about y'all, but I'm loving these answers. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna do this one. Being a brown or black transgender woman, we'll just say being a black transgender woman, have you ever had to give up a dream you've had to be your authentic self?
So I have had so many dreams in life. I really wanted to answer this question. When you transition as a trans woman, most of these things are going to be coming from the vantage point of a trans woman. As a trans woman, when you transition, you start dating. And when you start dating, you realize that a lot of men are just there to see you as the sideshow attraction. They want to say that they had the experience and that's it. So they'll tell you whatever they have to tell you to get to that point where they have had this experience. Or that's the only thing that they want. They'll have a relationship with you, but they only want a relationship with you because of what's between your legs. And so constantly running into that over and over and over again, there's a lot of girls who say to themselves, okay, I'm gonna be by myself. And a long time ago, I was like, okay, do I want to be in a relationship? Does that mean enough to me to stay a boy? Or do I say fuck a relationship and be true to who I am? And I was happy being by myself, perfectly happy being by myself, and that was something that I gave up on. I gave up on finding the perfect husband. I gave up on having the dream wedding. I gave up on romance. I gave up on so much because it was about who I wanted to be. And luckily, I got my socks knocked off because I am engaged and I am getting married. So I gave up on the dream, but I still got it. He done put a ring on it. So yeah.
Okay. You're not answering that one? How about you, Amarra? Okay, Amarra's in.
I wouldn't say I necessarily had to give up a dream, but I have given up on, there's a lot of things that I don't see in the future for myself since transitioning, just because I don't feel like I have access to them, and I don't feel like it's attainable necessarily, which whether it is or not, it's just how I feel because of the climate, around me. So one of those things being getting married, having kids. Not that I really want kids to begin with, but I digress. It's just, that that family unit. I kind of gave up on that, and I realized it is what it is. If it comes, it comes. But as of right now, I don't see that for myself. I never thought I would see myself on any runway. I remember I was 10 years old, and I was watching America's Next Top Model, and I was like, I just want to be one of those girls. But I knew as a trans woman, I thought at least I would never get the chance to do something like that. I walked for Omaha Fashion Week, and coming up this February, I'm walking for New York Fashion Week. There's so much more to come for me in 2020, and it's so surreal to me because I did give up on that dream when I transitioned, because I never thought I would be able to achieve that, ever, and I am, so.
So that is, again, do it again. Beautiful. Okay, so, this one is gonna be, I'm just gonna grab it first, but, so, can you share with me how you experience racism, transphobia, and colorism? I know, it's a lot.
Could you explain that last term?
Colorism? Colorism is that there are a variety of black people from very dark to lighter skinned. Colorism. And they're treated differently. Experiences, and it's the same for brown folks.
Okay.
Some folks who are more brown and are treated differently than folks who are less brown, but are still brown people. So who wants to take, okay, Lexi says, I got it. You want me to read the question again? You got it. You're on. You got it? You got the question? How do you experience racism, transphobia, and colorism? That was slower. We're going to see her on a comedy stage somewhere, someday. I can see it. Oh, no, it's down lower. It's down lower. Down lower. There you go. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere, sorry.
Transphobia.
I'm mixing it up on y'all.
Transphobia. Okay, so back in the day, I used to, I would interview as what my given name was, and then as soon as you hire me, here's Lexi. So, I was working at this call center, and I started off whatever. So I was in the bathroom, and it was this lady in there, and she walks out, and then I go and sit down. So it was a small call center, so the owner was there every day. So the owner calls me to her office, and she was like, well, it was brought to my attention that you were in the women's bathroom. And I looked at her, I was like, and? And she was like, well, what do you have between your legs? And I paused for a second, I was like, what? So I was like, that has nothing to do with that. Yes, it does. Yes, it does, because you don't need to be in there. If you're gonna work here, you're gonna either go across the street to Burger King to use the bathroom, or you're gonna go to the bathroom that you need to be in. And I looked at her, and I really wish that I knew the things that I now know, because I probably would have owned that company. But I left, and I hate that we as trans people tend to avoid and run from, because that's me. I don't like problems. I don't want to argue with nobody. I don't want to have these kinds of debates about things like that, because I wasn't in there looking at that lady I could have cared less who she was. I was just in there to pee. That was it. I work here. As far as colorism, one thing I hate about me and my sisters is that, and not y'all, I love y'all, but
I was like, what, man?
that we're in competition with one another. And you know, I'm a little dark up here. I'm the dark one. Y'all light skin, you know, and people tend to make it into something that is not like, you're beautiful just like I am. And you might serve something different, you know, like we all serve something different. And I hate that people think that it's a constant competition. And that's what trans women and cisgender women, like, we be in competition with each other. And in my mind, I'm like, well, who started this competition? I started with anyone. Like, who signed me up for that? You
Amarra, do you have anything to add to that question?
Oh, no, not
Okay.
I got a little to add.
Oh, okay.
So I think that it's important to keep in mind that there is intersectionality. I don't deal with racism by itself. I don't deal with sexism by itself. I don't deal with transphobia by itself. I don't deal with colorism by itself. I don't deal with these many, many issues by themselves. We always end up dealing with them at this intersection. White trans women are treated differently than black trans women. White women are treated differently than black trans women. White men are treated differently than black trans women. Black men are treated differently. So you have to understand that there's all of this negativity, all of this hatred coming in from these different areas, all leading down to this one thing. There is the pyramid of privilege, where you have a cishet white man sitting right at top. He gets everything he wants. And at the very bottom, you have black trans women. And so I think that it's important to paint that picture in your mind, that there is intersectionality and that it's not just one thing. We don't just deal with one at a time, because then it would be manageable. It would be very manageable. But we deal with them all together, all overlapped on top of each other. And it makes life very difficult.
Yes. You cannot talk about one without the other. They're all interrelated. So, all right. Okay. Now, we're going to talk about this one. Because everybody asked this question. We kind of already touched on it a little bit with bathroom stories. But what would you like folks to understand about access to bathrooms in your place of business or in businesses that you might frequent?
Yeah. So, not the funnest story. You think it would be. I went to Kansas City with some of my girls this past weekend to find my wedding dress. Should have been an amazing experience. It was for a while. We went, we found the dress, we pretended to try on some other ones, ate some amazing food, got shit-faced drunk. And then we did a little shopping, and then we decided that we needed to get barbecue before we left Kansas City. We went to Arthur Bryant's in the hood. Felt no type of way about it. I was cool. I usually don't get clocked publicly. I don't have people being like, "That's a man, Maury." Like, that doesn't happen to me that often.
Not Maury.
I guess that was a deep cut reference. So I wasn't necessarily worried. I got my food, I ate, I had been drinking. We were about to get back on the road. I was like, let me go pee real quick. And so I went into the bathroom and pulled my pants down, sat down on the toilet, most vulnerable position that you can be, because you can't run with your pants around your ankles. And I'm sitting there thinking about the amazing day that I had while I relieved my bladder, and all of a sudden I hear somebody from the kitchen yell very loudly, "A man just went into the women's restroom." Now this is a small 2-stall, dirty ass restroom. I know I was the only one in there. So to hear that, we talked about dysphoria, that bitch started going for it. Oh no, what did they notice? What did they see? What's gonna happen? And then the fear for my life kicked in. I thought, okay, BB was killed in Kansas City. I'm not in the safest neighborhood. What are these people going to do? How are they going to react? They're saying this loud enough to where everybody in the restaurant can hear it. What if somebody's one of those people who wants to kill somebody trans today? Because I just got outed by somebody in the back, in the kitchen. And so I hear somebody come into the bathroom, and then I hear somebody leave the bathroom. And then I stand up and I go to wash my hands, and somebody walks in. It's a woman. She looks at me. She disappears. I go to sit back down and trying to breathe my way through it, and I see her walking past me. I see other people walking past me, and I'm terrified. I'm losing my mind, and I tell my friends, I don't feel safe. Somebody just called me a man in the bathroom. Let's hit it. And so we get out, and the fear that I felt as I was walking to the car, I was just thinking in my mind, somebody's gonna shoot me like all the other women, and I'm going to end up on the news. I wonder what picture they're gonna use. I wonder what name they're going to call me. I wonder who's going to speak about me. What will they write about me? All because I went into a bathroom. I didn't go in there to peep at no little girls. I didn't go in there to do crack off the back of the toilet seat. I went into the restroom to pee and left fearing for my life. We were in the car with the doors locked, and I was still terrified. It wasn't until we were on the road, on the highway out of Kansas City, that I finally calmed down enough. And it had been such a long day, I needed to sleep. I needed to sleep on the way back, but could not, because that fear had just taken over me. So it was a recent story, so we knew I was gonna tell it.
If she
makes me
had
wonder,
not,
like,
I would have told her. She needed to remember to tell her. Go ahead.
It makes me wonder, like, what would have happened if we used the men's bathroom?
Right?
Right.
What would happen to me if I was in the men's bathroom?
Yeah.
What I look like going in there?
Somebody gonna call me a faggot and knock me over the head. I have a better chance in the women's bathroom than I do in the men's.
We don't do that word either.
All right,
That's
let's
a
see what
no-no.
I'm saying. But you know what? It's so true. I mean, just like a quick story. I had issues at my workplace, looking like this, with men as a group who went down to HR to ask them if they were going to make a special bathroom for me. What? Because these men were afraid to go into the bathroom with me, and I'm going, y'all don't understand. I like feminine presenting people. None of y'all are feminine presenting. It's a problem, right? But it is a problem. And so, what do you have to say about bathroom access, and what stories you got for us?
Just the anxiety, I guess, that comes with going into the women's restroom, because, you know, like, just listening to Avalisa's story just now, I really had to calm myself down, because that made my anxiety as a trans woman, and hearing that, oh my gosh, like, that situation is one of the scariest that we could be in, being outed so publicly and in such a vulnerable position. No, absolutely not. And it's very, as allies, I think you guys need to be very careful too. I'll say this, with what you're saying, who you're around, just like we have to be aware of our surroundings, y'all need to be aware of our surroundings as well. And what you're saying around certain people, what you're doing, like whatever conversation is being had, because we need y'all to have our backs just as much as we're, watching our own. But back to the bathroom, I was fortunate enough in high school to where I went right to the administration when I transitioned, and I was like, look, I'm not using the men's bathroom. Y'all got me fucked up, I'm sorry. Yeah. And so after I transitioned, I went to the administrators and I was like, look, this is how it is, and I'm gonna need you to accommodate me, and it doesn't need to be a problem. And I was lucky enough to have my principal be like, I'm on board with you, whatever you wanna do, that's how it goes, But in public, when it's a public restroom, you don't get that privilege, that safety necessarily. So there's a lot of anxiety that comes with trans people and using the bathrooms. I just want y'all to really recognize that, take that in, and how can you be a better ally and make sure there's access to restrooms for trans women and that they're safe in them. That's all I got to say on that.
And don't act as though you might think to yourself, oh, I'm in a workplace, we don't need to worry about that. The truth is, every workplace should be thinking about it. And an ally coming forward and saying, hey, you know what, I think our gendered bathrooms are kind of messed up. I mean, the Union for Contemporary Art does not have gendered bathrooms. What are you gonna, these two over here, I think they need to take the show on the road.
So it's something that I've thought about, and I just asked Lexi, and apparently she does it too, and I'm not sure if Mara does it. However, it is so terrifying for us in the bathroom, a place where we, should just pop in, pop out, that we have listened to the way that it sounds when we pee, trying to make sure that it sounds like the way it sounds when you pee.
And grab tissue.
Girl, and grab tissue. Just trying to make sure it sounds just the same as you so that nobody walks out of there clocking us and putting our lives in danger. That's how serious the restroom issue is. I'd be like, okay, it sounds the same, I'm cool, let me grab the tissue, let me grab the tissue.
Right,
There have been times when I've literally walked into a public restroom and saw that someone was in it and walked out and waited for them to leave and then went in. Because imagine trying to figure out what people are thinking if you walk into a restroom that has urinals and you are walking into a stall, but there's 2 or 3 open urinals. Then you gotta act like you're doing number 2, but you also, but you're tickling so you hear it, right? I mean, these are the things that we have to think about that cis people don't think about. You don't think about that when you're going into the restroom, when you have access to a restroom that matches with the gender you identify with, right? We don't think, and these are things that we do think about all the time. So it's important. Where are we at on time? Okay, we got 8 minutes. This is lovely. You know what? Does anybody in the room have a burning question that they would like to ask? Yes.
I'm burning with a question such as, I'm obviously a Franciscan friar, and I happen to be gay, but I also live in assisted living here in Omaha, and I've raised the question several times among the GLBTQ community. When we all get older into assisted living, and I'm going to go home to assisted living with all my other residents, I don't know any of them that are gay, lesbian, or trans, or anything, but is there places for us?
That is a
And
really
we ought to be
extraordinary
thinking
question.
30, 40 years from now, not
Yeah.
just when you're 19. I appreciate that, I do. But what happens or if you're disabled in a wheelchair?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a couple things, because I have this fear. So my mother lives in a memory care unit. She has dementia. My chances of having dementia myself go up because of that fact. What happens, because I have certain body parts, when I go into a memory care unit, if I end up in one, are they going to be properly gendering me? Are they going to be using the right name? Are they going to be pronouncing my name correctly? Because I have been called Ellie. Even when I show you Eli, I have been called Ellie. Sure. And that is a problem. These are things that we also need to be thinking about as a community. I will tell you that there is a woman who works at a local community who actually has started something of a contingent and has been educating, because somebody at my mom's memory care unit actually told me, they quoted me and had a picture in their presentation. And I'm like, who was this? Because I know somebody asked me, but people ask me stuff all the time. Yeah. And so if they ask 1 or 2 questions, I say, yeah, quote me, but be sure to use my name, because I want people to know that it was my quote, right? But there are people in the community, and I'm one of them, who is looking at what can we do? What kind of spaces can we create? How can we elevate the knowledge and awareness of assisted livings and those types of spaces? Because that is a valid concern, sir.
It is.
Yeah.
The other thing is there's the presumption, of course, that among gay men that they're all rich enough that they can afford all those places. I know that's a bunch of shit.
I'm going to go ahead and interrupt here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and interrupt here and ask for questions pertaining to the Black trans feminine
Perfect.
experience. Yep. Because this is a very rare opportunity to have the three of us here.
Yep.
And that's a very important question and a very important topic that needs to be spoken about, but I don't think that this is the time and place for that. And I'd love to focus on what we're here to focus on.
Makes sense.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, Daisy.
In high school now, it's kind of more accepted to come out as transgender, but it's still kind of looked down upon. How do you think students can be more accepting and more empowering to those who are trying to come out and be authentically themselves?
Monkey see, monkey do. Monkey see, monkey do. Like, you see somebody making fun of somebody, you know, monkey see, monkey do, you're gonna make fun of them too. But when you're by somebody's side and people see that, that's how. You have to empower other people to be like, hey, listen, this is my friend. And you bothering them, you bothering me.
Be affirming, make sure that the people around you are affirming, and this goes even outside of high school. If you have somebody that transitions and you see people, you hear people, oh, he this, he her, no, she.
No, correct them.
Correct them, because one of the biggest problems that we have, and this is one of the questions that we had, what do you wish people would stop saying?
Yes.
I wish you would stop dead naming me behind my back, and I wish you would stop misgendering me behind my back. Because that's why people and relatives struggle to get it together when you're in our face, because you're not doing it when you're behind our backs.
And that also goes for you if you're talking to one of my family members. If you are not correcting them when they make a mistake, you're still pissing me off. Because that happens. There are family members who will talk to you and they will misgender me. And if you're talking to one of mine, I hope you correct them. You had your hand up. What's your question?
That was pretty much my question.
That was great. All right. Who else? Anybody else have a question? Yes, back there.
Yeah, so what are some things that y'all do to feel safer, some things that y'all, like people in your circles can do to make you feel safer with your visibility? In the context of like violence and that.
Realistically, ain't shit anybody can do. I think it's more so about being accepting of people, because one thing that I really love to say, and I will say as quickly as possible, is the reason that we are being killed is because of how people think it makes them feel. It's not about who we are and what we're doing, it's about how we make others feel. I've had so many men that I have kissed or slept with or just, kikied with at the bar and flirted with them a little bit, be like, so what does this make me? I don't give a fuck what it makes you. Because it's not about that. We need to be at a point to where people stop asking themselves, what does that make me? What does that mean about me? Because that's the question that's getting us killed. It doesn't mean shit about you, it means that I'm doing me. What I eat does not make you shit.
Thank you.
So I think just helping people understand that it has absolutely nothing to do with them. That's how you're going to keep us from ending up on the news. That's how you're going to keep our bodies off of the street.
More questions? Yep. Green back there.
Hi, I have a niece and a nephew that I very much adore, and I really want to be the best advocate for them. So what is something that you wish somebody told you when you were a kid that would have helped your journey better? Because if one day, they tell us that they're trans or gay, I want to be the best support system that I can be. So what's something that as kids you wish you could have been told that would have made your journey easier?
The Maya Angelou quote, when someone tells you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
I think that we need to, what am I trying to say? We need to make our kids more cultured. Like, just because he's a boy, he can learn how to cook and clean and show his emotions. Because then when he's grown and he's emotionalist and he don't show no emotion, he don't cook, he don't clean. Now he ain't nothing. So, but people represent being gay, like, we need to make sure that our kids are more cultured. That's all I gotta say.
I think as children, sometimes kids know from a very young age what they're feeling. And I think creating a space where they feel safe to share that with you and where they know it is okay is very important. Very important. because if they don't feel like they can express themselves, if they can live true to themselves, they're gonna grow up very bitter. And they're gonna grow up with a lot of internalized hate towards themselves and other people. So just doing that and really making sure they feel accepted and know that it's okay to be themselves, that's the biggest thing, I think.
And I would just add to that, because we're gonna wrap up, I would add to that, educate yourself now. Don't wait until someone in your family comes to you and says they are LGBTQIA2S+. Yes, I said that, and I will say it every time, because I'm also Two-Spirit, and we forget that a lot when we talk about Native people in the community. Educate yourselves. You did that tonight. So first of all, I'd like y'all to give yourselves a round of applause for being here. Now, I know you can be much louder than that. I want you to give a round of applause for our amazing panelists. Also for Anne doing what is right in the space. That's why I love you as much as I do, so you do the right thing in the space. Now, the other thing I'm going to share is, I spent the better part of yesterday. There were 23 women that we were honoring tonight. And I had ordered 4x6 prints. So I ordered 230 of them. And then what I did is I sat down and I wanted to know what their people thought of who they were. Not how they died, but who they were. And there was a beautiful tribute, especially to the Black transgender women, that was done that Ashley Marie Preston shared. And what they did is they asked Black transgender women to write about these Black transgender women. And they went and interviewed people and their families. So what I did is I wrote on the back of the photo what their narrative was, who they were to their community, what made them important and human, right? Humanize them. What I'm going to request that you do, because sometimes we get a handout, right? And then we go home and go, I ain't never eat that again. What I'm going to request that you do is that you take the time to buy a frame. You put this photo in a frame. And you put it somewhere prominent, either in your home or at your work on your desk. And when people ask you who that person is, you memorize what's on the back of that photo. And you tell them who they were to their community. And then ask yourself, who's going to take their place now that they're gone? Who's going to fill in and take care of the people that they took care of? Just like if one of my beautiful friends here were passed, I would be lifting their voices until the day I die, because these women are valuable to me. They're beautiful, amazing spirits. And I want y'all to remember them too. So I know that they'll do selfies. They're available to come and talk to your businesses. If you need contact information, let me know. I can connect you. But what I would like to do now is I would like everyone, as you're walking out, there's going to be some volunteers. Everyone take a photo. You're also going to take a flameless candle. I want the candles back. So when you're done, bring them back. But we are going to go stand outside. I know it's cold, but it's 23 minutes. A lot of LGBTQ youth don't have the privilege of finding a space inside for nights. So I think we can stand out for 23 minutes in honor of these 23 women that we're here tonight. So thank you very much. Take a photo on the way out. Take a flameless candle. Also, we have, if you have cash and you want to toss some cash, Danielle is here collecting some more funds for these beautiful women who are sat up here and shared so beautifully. Again, a big round of applause for our panelists. And then we're done outside, so we're going to all move outside. We're all going to turn our candles on at the same time, and I will holla and then direct that. And then when we're done, I'll have a box available where you can toss your candles back in.